So solar is the superior off-grid option, and believe me, we are saving up for it. However, we don't quite have enough money for it yet. And in the meantime, I don't want to buy solar for my camper just to turn around and have to buy a new solar system for whatever we build as far as a house or a shed goes. I also wanted to be able to get power to remote areas of my property, so a generator started to make sense. So we did end up going with the generator. However, the generator has a lot of issues with it. I wouldn't necessarily say issues, but some idiosyncrasies I wasn't thinking about, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. So if I had known all these things beforehand, I may have made a few decisions differently. So I want to bring you through some of the things I wasn't thinking about that you might want to know before you make your decision. Like how much gas you're gonna need. Does your camper have an inverter to work off the batteries for your fridge? How loud the generator's gonna be! And generators create noxious gases, so what are we gonna do about that? For the first week, I had nowhere to put the generator, so anytime it rained, I had to disconnect it from the camper, and then I had to drag it basically under a tree. When I got the shed, I put it in the shed. So we built this shed to keep the noise down and to protect it from all the weather and the elements that are out there. And the shed actually works pretty good. So we used to be able to hear it from over a mile away. And now once you get to the other side of the camper, you can talk in a normal voice again, and it's hardly an issue at all. So the first thing I needed was clean, fresh air for my generator if we were gonna put it inside of the shed. So I created a vent right here, which goes into a cold box. The cold box is just a plywood box that runs underneath my shelves right here before it ends in a fan. The fan pulls in the air from outside through the cold box, which is always shady, and blows straight on the intake of my generator. So the last thing I had to do to get this thing safe was to make sure I get all those noxious gases outside of the generator. The fans, they'll only do so much. I needed something to actually extend my exhaust port from the generator to the wall and then to the outside. So these exhaust kits you can pick up on Amazon for about $100, and they work, I would say 80 to 70% effective. They'll also say that they make it quieter. They don't. That's a blatant lie. Just ignore everything they say when it comes to makes your generator quieter. I mean, like 2 or 3 decibels out of 70, not a big deal. But anyway, what you'll find is that there's a couple key places that these things leak. They'll leak where the pipe connects to your muffler, and they will leak where they connect to your actual exhaust point. On the back side of the generator, I've got fans set up to take those noxious gases, anything that builds up that the exhaust flow doesn't actually take outside of the generator. And these just help clear and keep all the air cool in here. I started with just one fan, and I got this off of Amazon. It was a fairly decent price, but this wasn't enough. The generator kept shutting off on me. So I was already out of money by this point in the project. So I just went to Dollar General and I picked this guy up for 20 bucks, and voila, it works just fine now. Now, I don't run my generator 24/7, and I'm pretty sure my neighbors would kill me if I did. And I just don't have the money for that amount of gas, so I cycle it on and off throughout the day. We keep our generator on for 4 to 5 hours at a time, no less than 10 hours a day. And that's completely dependent on how good my batteries are. I've actually, while testing this system, already burnt out 2 batteries. So it's important to know where your batteries are at and how long you can run your camper off those batteries before you get them below, for me now, 50% charge. Lucky for me, my Bluetooth system, I can actually see where my batteries are at any point from this pad in my camper or from my phone. So what I simply did to figure out where it was is I monitored where my battery levels were at. If you don't figure this out for yourself, you could end up like me with some bad batteries. Anytime it dropped below 12.2, I made sure everything was off. We cycled the generator back on. Our goal is to not let our batteries drop below 12.4 volts, which is around 50%. So 4 to 5 hours at a time gets us back up to 100%, and then we can run them for about 8 hours before that charge dips below 50%. So we're at 8,000 feet up here, and generators aren't exactly meant to work at 8,000 feet out of the box. They typically go from 0 to 3,000 before modifications need to start happening to the generator. Fortunately, Furman, which is the brand that we bought, offer a warranty, and they'll send you the part that you need to have your generator perform well at high altitudes. Now, we decided to get the Furman 807553, and you can pick these up at Lowe's. They're about $1,000. And now that we have the high altitude carburetor, which Furman sent us for free, this thing works absolutely fantastically. The gas runs for about 12 hours off of one full tank, which is 8 gallons. So that puts our daily gas consumption prices at right around 20 bucks a day, because gas prices are stupid high up here. Also, it runs 7,500 watts, which is more than enough for what we need with the camper. Before I bought the generator, I went ahead and I monitored our power usage for about a month, and we rarely got above 3,000 watts at a time. So we're actually extremely happy with how this Furman has worked for us, and extremely grateful that they have a program where they'll just send you the part that you need if you live at 8,000 feet like we do. So it's also extremely easy to start. All you have to do is turn this to on. You've got a choke back there, and then they've got a push button start. But if the push button start doesn't work, you also have a ripcord right here that's really easy to use.
Did you just see that? Did you just see how hot that was?
So back to the beginning, would I do it the same way if I had the chance to start over? And I think I probably would. The main thing is I need the generator for backup power once we get on solar. I need the generator to be able to do projects elsewhere on land, and it works extremely well for what we were expecting from it. Now, I did have to spend about $1,500 to get the whole shed set up, but the shed's multi-purpose, right? It cost, out of that was about $1,000 for the shed, about $500 total for all the other just little things that I needed, from a grounding wire to fans to an exhaust pipe. We were able to get the whole thing put together. Really happy with it. And so I really don't have any regrets. The number one thing that I'm kind of bummed out about is that it does cost me 20 bucks a day almost to run this thing to where I want to. So if I have to stay on this thing full time for over 3 months, I'm going to be at the point of just buying an off-grid solar kit to begin with. So these are the things that I really would consider heavily if doing again, on whether I go with the generator, which I knew I already needed, or whether I jump straight into solar. So situationally dependent, you may have a different answer than I have on this one. So again, we're just a family trying to figure this out. If you want to follow along with us, please give us a like and a subscribe. Maybe you'll figure out something from what we do wrong along the way. Again, we don't know what we're doing, but we're going to do it anyway.